Hello and welcome to Flames Food and Fun. Today we're going to be making a Chicago Tavern-Style Pizza with a keto crust. One of the first things that's very important in this is that you turn on the oven as high as it'll go. Mine goes to 550, and you're going to need a pizza stone. So right now we're going to make a very simple no-cook sauce. Now this is an excellent pizza sauce, but you can also use it for other Italian dishes if you'd like. So the first thing that I'm going to put in is San Marzano tomatoes. These are the best tomatoes you can buy in the world. And you usually, if you can find them, you want to get them crushed. Since I was unable to find them crushed, I use an immersion blender and to get them up with the same consistency. So we start with the San Marzano tomatoes. We add 1.5 teaspoons of oregano, 1 teaspoon of basil, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and 2 garlic cloves. I like to use fresh garlic in most of my recipes. Okay. The last thing we do is we're going to put in an olive oil. Now, it's important to put a really good olive oil in here. And this olive oil here from Rodoro, we were actually, when we owned a cooking school and catering business, we were actually the first ones to import Rodoro into the US. This is an excellent olive oil. It's great for bread, put on pasta, things like that. So it adds a great flavor. And that's what you want for the sauce. You really want an olive oil that's going to impart an excellent flavor. This one is a little bit, it's got a little bit of a spice to it. Now, all we need to do is stir this up, and we're going to cut it off to the side. You can make this actually, up to 3 days beforehand. You can take it and freeze it. What I like to do is I freeze it and I put it in other dishes and that, because we only use a little bit now. But you see that the flavor is so good on this. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. So use about a 1/2 teaspoon, but this is really to your taste. Okay, so that's what's really important. And we're going to put a little bit of pepper in here. Okay, so stir this up, and we're going to let this sit for a while, and then we'll come back and we'll use this when we actually make the pizza. So now we're going to make the keto crust. Now the keto crust is going to be similar to the flour crust on a tavern pizza. It's not going to have exactly the same texture, but we try to make it as close as possible. So we've added 198 grams of almond flour and 15 grams of coconut flour. And now we're going to put in a 1/2 teaspoon of xanthan gum. That's going to give it more of the texture of an actual flour dough. We got a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. We've got just a pinch of garlic, a pinch of onion salt, or just onion powder, not salt. And then we're going to add some salt, just to taste, not much, just kind of a pinch here. A tablespoon of olive oil. Again, we're going to use Rodoro olive oil. This is an excellent olive oil, great flavor, and it really imparts a good flavor into this dough. Mix this up a little bit. Mix all the kind of the dry ingredients, a little bit of the oil. So we'll start there. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the eggs. We're going to add 2 eggs. These are pasture-raised eggs. We're going to add those. And what you're going to see is this is going to really make the consistency nice. It's going to be kind of like a cookie dough consistency. It's going to be not very much like flour. You can see it's already starting to come together, and that's what you really want together in the ball. Now this is going to be a little bit on the sticky side. This is very much like I said, a cookie dough. It's going to have that kind of feeling. So we're going to spray this with some oil because it's going to get really sticky here. So we're using the parchment paper, and then we're going to spray it with oil. And we're going to roll this thing out. And I couldn't find a recipe. Actually, I looked online, And so I experimented with this. I took some techniques for making doughs for keto doughs, and I came up with this recipe here. Okay, so this right here makes about 2 14-inch pizzas. Okay, so you're gonna pull it together, cut it in half here. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm gonna put this one off to the side a little bit, and we'll use that for actually making a different type of pizza completely. So we're gonna start by pushing this out with our hands. The edges start to kind of break up a little bit, split. You wanna kind of push that in with your fingers. That's gonna get a really nice start on this. So we push it out, and we're gonna actually use a rolling pin here in a second. So very different, than what you would see with an actual flour pizza dough. We try to get this on there as straight as we can, because we're going to go to the edges. This is a 15-inch. It's going to bring it towards the edges somewhat. So I'm going to pull it to begin with, just to get it started. Spinning the dough as we go along here. I'm using a 14-inch Chicago pan pizza. We're just going to kind of cut around, try to get that nice round appearance. Now this is going to stick just a tad, so we stick the knife underneath it, kind of pull it up a little bit. All right, that's going to give us real nice round pizza dough. The trick here is that we're going to put it in the oven, but we're only going to put it in the oven for a minute and a half tops. And the reason for that is it actually cooks very fast. And we're just trying to get it a little bit crisped up so that we can put all the toppings on it. So we want to watch this very carefully. And again, this is a 15-inch pizza stove, so we get that to sit on there real nice. We got that at about 500 degrees. Okay, so it's been about a minute, but by looking at this, we can see that it's actually bubbling and getting crisped up. So what we want to do is take it out. So it's just getting a little brown around the edges. We want to take that out, and we need to cool that for, let's say, about 7, 8, 10 minutes, just so it's cool to the touch. All right, now our pizza crust has cooled to room temperature, and we're now ready to put on the toppings. So we use about 2 spoonfuls of this, and I take it all the way to the edge. For me, that's the way I like it. Other people don't. And this is a different kind of crust. It's not, again, it's not like the crust that you get, with a flour crust. So now that we've got the sauce on, you can see it's somewhat translucent there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some Parmesan cheese. This is grated Parmesan cheese. I actually went to Parma and to watch this cheese being made. It's amazing. They've been using it this way for countless years. The way they make cheese, particularly Parmesan cheese. So this is Parmigiano Reggiano. Now the next thing we're going to do, I like to put a lot of vegetables on. Now we roasted the peppers, onions, and mushrooms. We roasted them earlier in a pan in the oven while it was warming up. And then wherever I have room, I just kind of fill in with the other vegetables. And I used about a pepper here, and a little more than, a little bit about half an onion, and about 6 ounces of mushrooms. So now, because the pizza cooks so fast with this crust, I actually use that same ceramic sheet, but again, you can use parchment paper. And I just put dollops on, just with my fingers, similar to how you make a pizza in Chicago, but I pre-cooked it. So it'll have a similar texture and feel as you would in Chicago. It's a little bit different. Again, this is very traditional for Chicago pizza. In New York, they're gonna slice it. And if you get a frozen pizza, it's kind of rounded and everything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some mozzarella cheese. Now I actually grated this cheese fresh because I really don't like using the pre-grated cheese, and that's because it has cellulose, which is really a wood product, and other chemicals to keep it from caking. We like to put a lot of cheese on as well. Then we'll take it as much as we can towards the edges. Now normally you wouldn't want to do this if you were going to put it straight on the pizza stone, because what that would do is actually get cheese all over your pizza stone. It's going to get it into the oven, and that makes a mess. But because we left about a ½ inch on the sides of the pizza, we're able to do this and take the cheese all the way to the edges. The last thing I want to do is we're going to put on some pepperoni. This is a really good pepperoni. I like to put it in a circle. This is very common, you see in the tavern pizza in Chicago. So we just kind of go in a circle and just go from the outside in. We can get as many in as we can. All right, this is ready to go in the oven. Now this is going to take anywhere from, say, 7 to 10 minutes, depending. I made a test pizza last night. It took 11 minutes, so that's going to be good. All right, so this pizza, it's been about 11 minutes so far. So we're going to take this out of the oven, and we're going to have to let it cool for a while. And we like our pizzas well done. So we just get it on that rack. And so we're going to let that cool, and then we'll come back and we'll cut it and we'll give it a try. All right, now, so our pizza has cooled, and it's ready to cut. And in Chicago, when we have a tavern-style pizza, we cut it in squares. So we're going to cut that into squares right now, and we're going to give it a try. So I like to use a knife. Some people can use a pizza cutter. For me, I think it's just a little easier with the knife. And if you go, a lot of the pizza restaurants in Chicago that serve the thin crust pizza, they're going to use a knife as well. A lot of people think, hey, Chicago pizza is thick pizza, but in reality, that's a pizza that we only eat, on special occasions, because it's very, very filling. This is the kind of pizza that we're going to eat maybe 2, 3, up to 4 times a month. Well, let's give this a try. So I'm going to take a little, let's see, an edge piece here. You can see it's not floppy, pretty crispy. Nice looking crust. So let's give it a try. That's absolutely delicious. And so we're able to enjoy some of our favorite foods like this delicious pizza, but do it in a low-carb diet. And so that's really was the point of today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode and you really want to learn more about cooking healthy restaurant quality foods at home, or you just want to learn about food from different lands as I travel around, then please subscribe, and also tell us, what kind of dishes would you like us to make in another episode. We'll be happy to take a look at that, and we'll take those requests, and if we get a lot, then we're going to make that. So thank you very much, and bon appetit.